the kids today do not understand. I was quizzed once when Dr. Banda was thrown out and the new government came in. I went in for about 2 weeks into Malawi just to find out, check the waters and find out what's happening and whether I could go back and so on. I discovered I couldn't, but I was able to read from my poems. And these kids were saying, but why were you arrested without, you see, you cannot be arrested today without, I said, yes, but we have had to fight for this. They did not know the amount of energy that some of us put in the struggle to fight the dictatorship, in Dr. Banda's dictatorship. And I was taken and imprisoned, and there was no charge, no trial. And just 1 or 2 poems about what we did in prison and how we survived. Scrubbing the furious wars of Mikuyu. Is this where they dump those rebels? These haggard cells stinking of bucket shit and vomit and the acrid urine of yesteryears. Who would have thought I would be gazing at these dusty cobweb ceilings of Mikuyu prison, scrubbing briny walls and riddling out impetuous scratches of another dung beetle locked up before me here. Violent human palms wounded these blood-blotted mosquitoes and bugs to survive, leaving these vicious red marks. Monstrous flying cockroaches crashed here. Up there, the cobwebs trapped dead bumblebees. Where did black wasps get clay to build nests in this corner? But here, scratches, insolent scratches. I've marveled at the rock paintings of Mponzi Hills once, but these grooves and notches on the walls of Mikuyu prison, how furious, what barbarous squiggles. How long did this anger languish, without charge, without trial, without visit here? And what justice committed? This is the moment we dreaded, when we would all descend into the pit, alone, without a wife or a child, without mother, without paper or pencil, without a story, just 3 Bibles for 90 men, without charge, without trial. This is the moment I never needed to see. Shall I scrub these brave squiggles out of human memory then? Or should I perhaps superimpose my own, less caustic? Dare I overwrite this precious scroll? Who would have known I would find another prey, without charge, without trial, without bitterness in these otherwise blank walls of Mikuyu prison? No. I'll throw my water and mop elsewhere. We have liquidated too many brave names out of the nation's memory. I will not rub out another, nor inscribe my own, more ignoble, to consummate this moment of truth I have always feared. The prison where I was, Mikuyu prison, had 2 blocks. The first block had political prisoners. The second block had condemned prisoners. And one of the most horrifying things was to psychologically and so on, it was shattering. They came in the middle of the night to take 6 condemned prisoners away from the prison to hang them. And they came with this hullabaloo, people marching and left, right, and this is in the middle of the night, and suddenly the condemned prisoners realized the time has come for 6 of us to come to be taken. And the 6 didn't know who were being being taken. And so they started singing, and when they sang it, you got up in your block. The political prisoners got up and simply just couldn't go to sleep anymore. And then the soldiers, the prison guards came in and opened the door, and they had chains, and they deliberately made chains made noise so that they can scare you into submission, so that by the time they open your cell and they call out 6 names, X, Y, Z, etc., up to 6 names, and each one of these is dragged into there's a whole cavalcade of the soldiers here, the prison guards on the left, and then in the middle, and there's this chain. They tie you with this chain, and you are taken over all the way. This at the back of the thing, there is at the back of the prison, there is a huge truck which is chucking its engines and just waiting for the next person to be dropped in. And so they drop you there with your chains, and they get the next man and do the same thing. And where you are thinking they could come and pick me up and just drop me off to hang me. Of course they were not going to, but they could easily have if they'd wanted. And that was one of the most psychologically sort of horrifying aspects of prison. Meanwhile, we, political prisoners too, we were not taken away anywhere, but we did not know when we were going to be released, if we were going to be released at all. Prison life was tough. The toughest thing is to know what to do, because there was nothing to do there. There were no books to read. And then often you wanted to go out for a shower, but they didn't want to take you for a shower because you did not stink, they said. Oh, you're clean. You educated people, you're clean. Why should we take you for a shower? So what we decided was to invent the stench, which is what this poem is about. Skipping without ropes. I will skip without your rope, since you say I should not. I cannot borrow your son's skipping rope to exercise my limbs. I will skip without your rope, as you say, even the lace I want will hang my neck until I die. I will create my own rope, my own hope, and skip without your rope, as you insist. I do not require to stretch my limbs fixed by these fevers of your reeking sweat and your prison walls. I will skip with my forged hope. Watch me skip without your rope. Watch me skip with my hope. A 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5. I will. A 7. I do. Will skip. A 10, 11. I will skip without, skip within, skip and skip I do without your rope, but with my hope. And I will always skip you dull, will skip your silly rules, skip your filthy walls, your weevil pigeon peas, your weevil pigeon peas, skip your scorpions, skip your excellency, life, glory. I do, you don't, I can, you can't, I will, you won't, I see, you don't, I sweat, you don't, I will wipe my gluey brow, then wipe you at a stroke, I will wipe your horrid, stinking, vulgar prison rules, will wipe you all, then hop about my cell, my home, the mountains, my globe, as your sparrow hops about your prison yard without your hope, without your rope, I swear. I will skip without your rope, I declare. I will have you take me to the showers to bathe me, where I can resist this singing child you want to shape me. I'll fight your rope, your rules, your hope, as your sparrow does under your supervision. Gods, take us for the shower! They told deliberate lies, misinformed the outside world. For instance, my wife and children, it took 22 months for them to visit me in prison. But in that time, they were told all sorts of stories, that I had died, that I had hung myself, that I had, had suffered from cholera and then died in prison, and all sorts of stories were created to make people feel that you are technically dead. But part of the story was to prepare you or the outside world, if they decided to kill you, or if you died in prison, then they would have said, but we heard rumors that you had been killed a long time ago. So the rumors were there, and misinformation was most fascinating thing. But we were able to see through it and to beat it. And the majority of the political prisoners decided, we are not going to die here. Let's decide not to die. Because in certain cases, in situations like that, you can't decide to die. You don't have to suffer from anything to die in prison, in that type of condition. I always cry when I read this poem.
Don't be afraid to cry.
Got this.
Well, yeah, I got one in the pocket. I was released from prison, but about 2 months before my release, my mother died. And I had kept stories for my mother. And so when I was released and went to see her grave where she was buried, I remembered what happened, and she was the first person to shout at the police when they came to arrest me. She actually stood up for them, and the other one was my son, 5.5-year son, who shouted at the police and called them names. And I don't know where he got the courage from. Anyway, so this is after watching the burial, 111, sorry, page 110. I'm addressing my mother then. Your tears still burn at my handcuffs. After that millet beer you brewed, mother, in case Kadango Mission made something of another lake son for the village to strut about. After that fury with the special branch when I was brought home handcuffed, how dare you scatter this peaceful house? What has my son done? Take me instead, you insensitive men. You challenged their threat to imprison you too, as you did not stop your gibberish. After that constant care, mother, I expected you to show me the rights of homing in of this political prisoner. Perhaps with ground herbal roots dug by your hand and hoe, poured in some clear pot of warm water for me to suffuse. Perhaps with your usual wry smile about the herbs you wish your mother had told you about. Today, as I invent my own cleansing rites at this return of another fugitive, without even dead roots to lean on, Promise to bless these lit candles I place on your head and your feet. Accept these bended knees, this lone prayer offered among these tall unknown graveyard trees, this strange requiem mustered from the tattered Catholic choir of Dembo village. You gave up too early, mother. 2 more months and I would have told you the story of some Chinji upstart who tamed the frog at Mikuyu prison. How he gave it liberty to invite fellow frogs to its wet niche, dearly feeding them insects and things. But how one day, after demon bruises, his petulant inmate threw boiling water at the niche, killing frog and visitor. And I hoped you'd gather some tale for me too. One better than your granddaughter's, about how you told her she would not find you on her return from school that day. But we understand. After so many pointless sighs about your son's expected release, after the village ridicule of your rebellious breasts and sure fatigue of your fragile bones, your own minders, then your fear for us, when the release did finally come, you would propose yet another exile without you. We understand. You had to go to leave us space to move. Though now among the gentle friends of these Jorvik wars, I wonder why I still glare at your tears burning at my handcuffs. Prisons are places where a certain amount of truth is told. Most often it is truth of yourself, who you think you are. So it starts on the day you arrive in prison, they strip you naked and you are a nothing. And you are naked. And that nakedness is absolutely fascinating.